The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some independent Optivia coaches or clients of Optivia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. In addition, this audio may contain income or earnings representations of some independent Optivia coaches. Optivia makes no guarantee of financial success. Success with Optivia results from successful sales efforts, which requires hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. Please see the Optivia Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of coaches under the U.S. compensation plan, which differs from the international compensation plan. Yours in health, the Optivia team.
I think that we are about to get started. We want to welcome everybody that is joining with us tonight. It is an honor to have you with us. And it is, the ticker's filling up, Karen.
It is. We're so excited tonight that everyone's choosing to jump on tonight on the Zoom. We have some great things we want to share with you tonight. And we're watching as the numbers are just going up. I mean, we're already at 1,400 people signing on for Health and Hope tonight. We are so excited to meet you.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We're Pat and Karen Schatzline. We are in Fort Worth, Texas. And in a few minutes, you're going to hear from some of our dearest friends in the world. They're going to be helping us. In fact, it's kind of cool as we were talking about it today together. And that's what you're going to hear about. You're going to hear about Optivia in just a moment. You're going to hear about a plan that radically changed our life. But really, thanks for taking time to join us, whether you're a client already, whether you're a coach, whether you're just checking this out and you're like, what is this whole thing that everybody's been telling us about? You're going to hear about a plan that radically changed our life. You know, Karen and I, we've been married almost 30 years in September. We've been married 30 years. And I married her when she was
just a baby.
12,
yeah.
Which in the South, I'm just joking now.
No.
We met in college. And so we want you to do something really quick. You're going to hear more about our story in just a second. But if you would, go ahead in the chat. Down at the bottom, you can see a chat because, man, people are still jumping on. Tell us where you're coming from. So we're maybe somewhere around the world, because the whole night is about lifelong transformation. And there are actually people from overseas that are jumping on, or anywhere around the U.S. Put in there. It's fired up right there. Check that out.
And I would love it, because tonight you're going to hear some inspirational stories. I know during the season that we're living in, during the times we're living in, who doesn't like to hear about inspiration? Who doesn't like to hear a little encouragement? And in a time where maybe we're social distancing, that doesn't mean social disconnecting. We can come together as a community to cheer each other on, to encourage each other, and just to be there, just to share some lifelong transformation stories. And that's what you're going to hear tonight.
Well, I'm super stirred up. I'm super fired up, because this is one of those nights where you're going to look back and it may be the night that changes everything, a transformational night. You know, in just a moment as we move into this and we begin to share kind of our story about who we are, you're going to hear also from some dear friends that we've asked to be on that doing life with us. We are health coaches with Optivia, independent health coaches. And we started our journey, I guess, in May is when it all started for me, because we're at the beach and we traveled the world speaking. And we've done a lot of stuff, writing and speaking around the world. And I traveled about, at this point, about 3 million miles. And I'll never forget, I'm on the beach. And as we're on the beach, I'm sitting there and I went, I got to change my life. I was getting ready to speak at 27 conferences. And something began to stir inside of me that we had to change. So I want to show you these pictures real quick of Karen and I, because we radically took back our health. And that's middle picture is where we just finished 100 rides on Peloton.
And then we've actually finished 150.
Since that picture, that's our son right there. We have 2 grandsons, Jackson and Anderson. You'll see them playing for Alabama someday anyway. But we have our beautiful 17-year-old daughter who's going to be going into her senior year. And so let me tell you about our story real quick. Because again, we've been married for 30 years.
Yeah.
And almost 30 years.
Yeah, and so many times every Wednesday night we come together for Habits of Health. calls where the community comes together to learn about the Habits of Health transformational system. But once a month, we get to come together to share those health and hope stories. So that's what we're here to do tonight. So we're going to share our story.
Well, and they're going to hear it because we said yes. They're going to hear from other folks that said yes as well. And I'm going to tell you, what you're about to hear about is real. It's authentic. And it changed my life forever. But, you know, we were down at the beach, and we were there on vacation. We were getting ready to speak around the world for a whole summer. And I was miserable. And I'll never forget when I began to feel a stirring in my heart that I could change my life. And a few months later, on February the 22nd, I made a phone call to a friend of mine who became a very dear friend. He actually became my health coach, a guy named Corey Baker. And that day, I'm going to show you something really cool. So just hold on a second. I brought a prop because props are good. But I'll never forget that day. We were actually doing a television program. And this was that day. Yeah. And that night, I decided I was sitting and watching a program we'd just done, a TV interview type thing. And I decided to call my friend, Corey, and because someone had told me about this plan. Yeah. 4 days later, jumped on this plan called Optivia. And 5.5 months later, I had lost 72 pounds and radically transformed my life. What's your story?
So right after Pat went on the plan, I was thinking to myself, you know, I need to make a change too. I need to do something because here I was heading towards my 50s really quick. I'm 51 now, but I was heading towards my 50s.
She looks good, doesn't she? I am her arm candy.
But I was not feeling that youthful. I was beginning to feel age creeping up on me. I was tired. I was exhausted. The energy level was going way down and everything. And I was, I had a grandbaby that had just been born at that time, a teenage daughter and a grown son. And we were traveling every single week and life just kind of was overtaking me. And, so many times, and talk to some of the moms out there, so many times us moms, we give and we give and we give and we take care of everyone else, but we're the last person that we take care of. And I learned really quickly when I saw Pat taking back his health and I saw that he didn't want to take a nap anymore. He was energetic. He was just ready to hang out with the kids and to do all those things. I thought, okay, I need to do this. I need to make this a part of my life and make a life change. And when I jumped on plan, I just realized that there was so much more life to live than what I had been living. And there was so much more energy, and that age is just a number. It doesn't mean that we have to slow down. And so we want to share with you how you can do that as well, how you can regain energy, how you can do all of those things. So we want to ask you today, which one of these things, how would you answer best for what describes you? If you're tuning in tonight, are you a coach? Maybe you're already helping people.
Go ahead and tap on it.
Are you a client? Are already on plan and this is changing your life? Or are you a guest who's tuned in tonight because you have heard about this transformational system and you want to find out more to see if this is the right fit for you? So go ahead and click on that so that we can see who's tuning in tonight.
I'm going to be honest with you. You can look at the worldwide statistics. And worldwide statistics basically say that obesity has, and I'm just going to pull this up and read it to you really quick, but has literally tripled since 1975. And maybe you're watching this and you're like, you know what? I need to shift my life. I need to change my life. Maybe you're just now starting to come out of the cave, and we get that and we understand that. But there's a lot of things you can't control, but there are some things you can. And that's your health, taking back your health. And the statistics are crazy. Since 1975, obesity has tripled. In fact, most of the world's population lives in countries where overweight and obesity kills more people than underweight. And what you have to realize is in America, listen, call it the fast food industry, call it whatever you want to. That was part of my issue. I could go to the movies and drink 2 giant big gulps and a giant box of popcorn and it was my issue. It was my addiction, really. It's amazing. You can live a clean life or a life that you are pretty proud of, but I had to shift the inside of me. There had to be something up here that had changed. And if you look at statistics, that's our nation. A lot of times our statistics point out that food is the addiction that's taken so many people down. It was a family. I'm going to get into it in just a moment, but it really was a family issue for us because the men in my family, did not live past 62 years old. My dad has finally broken that because he took his health back. But almost a third of adults with partners, 31% report that the money is a major source of conflict in their relationships. Here's some more statistics. 69% of workers were stressed over their finances, with fully 72% admitting to worrying about their personal finances at work. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because when we come towards the end of this, you're going to even begin to hear about not just body, mind, but also finances, how to shift into that. And I'm reminded of the fact that as we move into this, we want to talk to you about the habits of health transformation. So you have to understand, 40 years ago, there was a company that began called MetaFast. 20 years later, an incredible leader who we honor and respect, Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson, he and his wife, Lori, launched what is now known as Optivia. And he came up with the habits of health transformation. And basically, we're going to go deeper into that in just a moment. But how to make your life, shift your life one healthy habit at a time. How to literally begin to step into transforming your life and seeing your life different. And Dr. Anderson, and one of the things I love about Optivia and Dr. A is that it's all about making the world better, changing lives, one healthy habit at a time. And, Dr. A, he's got a pretty impressive resume, but he served as director of the surgical critical care program at Grandview Medical Center in 20 years as a critical care physician, graduated valedictorian, but something in him shifted. And he said, you know what? And I love their story of how they did it. He said, we can change. So he left his practice because he said, we've got to change and create lifelong transformation. And there comes a moment where you have to say, as you're watching this tonight, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready. You're me at a hotel in Dallas, watching myself on television, going, literally laying there in a hotel bed, watching a TV interview. And I said, I've got to change. And I called my coach. Tell them more about what tonight's about.
So you may be watching and you think, well, what are we going to talk about? So I want to share with you, we're going to hit a couple of topics tonight. We're going to talk about some areas that might hit home with you. And on that agenda tonight, we're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about a healthy mindset, being awakened to the secrets of lifelong transformation, being awakened to what is truly possible for you. And we're going to bring up the skill sets that are needed to accomplish that. Learning from people who have successfully created the results that they desired and how they did it. There's actually some simple steps to get you to where you want to be. And by taking action to do that. And how we're going to do that, to that secrets of lifelong transformation, we're going to talk about having a coach that's going to walk with you. We're going to talk about that amazing habits of health system, that transformational system that's been put in place for you, and that the community that's going to be offered to you. There are so many components, 4 components that are being offered to you. And then we're going to talk about the fuelings. And we're going to go through these 4 components, but we're going to talk to you about them through people who have actually experienced them firsthand. And so we want to share a little bit about that with you, and to move on and talk about the first component, which is the coach that is going to be offered to you.
I'll be honest with you. I had to have a coach.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Optivia decided right up front is number one, you've got to have somebody that loves you enough, cares about you enough, that will reach out to you, that will encourage you, that will push you. I mentioned Corey Baker just a moment ago. He's my coach. Julie Baker's your coach. Now, we didn't know that we would end up coaching, literally hundreds and of lives being transformed. And we'll get into that, how to pay it forward later. But I'm going to be straight up with you. I needed a coach in my life because I needed accountability. I needed somebody that would walk with me, that was caring, that was knowledgeable, that would reach out to me on a daily basis, whether it was a text or it was a phone call. That first week, when my body began to change and I began to shift into this thing, I'll never forget, after the 3rd day, I couldn't even buy a nap. I mean, I just was like, I had so much energy, and I thought naps were pretty anointed. I'm gonna be honest with you, but something began to change me, and I'm like reaching out to my coach going, what's happening to me? This is so incredible. But not only that one-on-one support, but they walk you through the life book, which Karen will be talking about. They walk with you through the different habits, how to stop, challenge, and choose, how to say, you know what? No more Fruit Loops at 11 o'clock at night. We have a better plan than that. That was kind of my addiction. But also providing encouragement and support. So that's just one of the pillars of Optivia.
Yeah. And so we want to talk to you about that, about the Habits of Health transformational system. And so there are so many things that are being offered to you. When you begin this amazing health journey, you're going to get Dr. Anderson's Habits of Health transformation system. You're going to get the Habits of Health book that walks you through all the elements of healthy mind, healthy motion, healthy eating, healthy lifestyle. And it's actually the second edition, the new and improved edition. And you're going to get a life book that you're going to be able to use that life book to journal, to see what your triggers are, to see the things that cause you to sink into those old habits. We want to break some old habits, and we want to create some new healthy habits in your life. And so that steps to that long-term health journey. And we consider it a lifetime transformation by using one healthy habit at a time.
And they're going to get an app. They're going to get,
right.
I mean, there's so much stuff that happens with that. And so we have, I want to bring on a couple that's very, very dear to us. And we have done a lot of life together. And they live down in the Mobile area. But I want to bring on Wayne and Courtney Pendle because they're very dear to us. They've helped transform a lot of lives, but they personally saw a transformation in their life. Wayne and Courtney, would you come on and just talk to us for just a few minutes about literally how this system changed your life? Go ahead, guys.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for allowing us to share our story. I found myself being what I considered a typical middle-aged mom. I felt tired. I was overweight. And honestly, I just kind of wondered, and felt like maybe this is just how life is. I just kind of settled in, but it was really a burning platform moment in my life that woke me up to realize that there was more and that I needed to take back my health. And what that was is I woke up thinking I was having a heart attack one night and spent the whole day in the ER. And that was a very frightening moment. And the sad thing about it was my son's 13th birthday that day. So I remember him coming to the hospital to check on me and asking, hey, Mom, are we still going to get to do my birthday party? Oh my gosh, that was like a dagger to the heart as a mom, as you can imagine. And that was the moment for me that I realized that my choices didn't just affect me, that my health actually affected those that I loved the most. And so I decided right at that moment that was it. It was time for me to really get serious about my health. Yes, get to a healthier weight, but more than that, to really create health in my life. And so I'm so thankful that at that moment, I saw one of my friends. He was looking really good, getting healthy, and he happened to be a health coach and introduced me to the Habits of Health system. And I started my journey. I had no idea that one conversation was about to transform my life. So I'm so thankful that he lived his life out loud and let me, find this program. But the Habits of Health transformational system, including the life book, helped me to really transform my mind. That is where true transformation happens. Yes, I got to my healthy weight and I'm continuing to focus on my health, but it's through the other parts of the system, the life book, and this call. You really should be proud of yourself if you're already starting your journey to listen to these weekly calls. I see it as fueling your body with the fuelings, but then also your mind. It's really the key to a lifelong transformation. And then coaching, paying it forward. That's the other part of it. So I'm living a much bigger life now, and I'm so thankful for it. We both are, and Wayne's going to share what his, but you'll see in this picture of us that we went on a trip to Paris, and I literally teared up as I was watching the twinkling lights of the Eiffel Tower and walking Versailles. We looked on Wayne's watch, and we had walked 9 miles that day, and I realized that with 60 pounds off my body, that I was living a much bigger life, because I really don't think I would have been able to have the stamina to do all that we did that day. And so, it has really transformed us and made us have a bigger life for sure.
Yeah. And then about a month into Courtney's journey, she gave me the elbow to the ribs. I don't know if any of you all are familiar with that from your spouse, but I came on, got to my healthy weight. And I will tell you, I quickly realized that it was not a stomach issue, but as Courtney said, it was a brain issue. So I dove into this life book and started reading through these elements, and it really helped me understand about emotional mismanagement and stop, challenge, and choose is such a big part in developing micro habits. And let me give you an example from a work situation where I knew this was much more than a diet, but we were really creating lifelong transformation. So it was about 6 months ago, and I was sitting in a meeting with about 20 people, and I was facilitating a session. And about 20 minutes into it, one of the senior leaders in the back of the room slammed his fist on the desk and said, I've just got to interrupt. This is a complete waste of my time, what we're doing. Well, you could have heard a pin drop. And all of a sudden, everyone's eyes looked at me. And immediately, to defend my ego and tell that jerk that if you'd have gotten off your email and paid attention and quit coming and going, you would have seen the purpose and part of the session. But I didn't do that. All of a sudden, I saw this water bottle that was sitting just a little bit away from me. And I remembered Dr. Anderson speaking. You know, two Waynes really do speak well to each other. And he was saying, Wayne, grab the water bottle. He wasn't really saying, but in my mind, I went and grabbed it, took a drink. It took about 10 or 15 seconds, put it down. And during that time, I remembered out of this life book, this powerful 3 words: stop, challenge, and choose. And I realized at that moment, that was not just about the food I was putting in my mouth, but the words that were coming out of my mouth. So I took a drink of water, felt those emotions, challenged what I was feeling, and chose some better words to respond. Long story short, the people in that meeting came up to me and says, Wayne, that was the best response we've ever seen to that really difficult senior leader. You really showed up well. So I just wanted to give you an example from my personal life that what started for us is just a weight loss program, and to lose something quickly transformed into gaining so much more, because I realized, oh my gosh, that came straight out of element 23 in Dr. A's life book, where he talks about managing our emotions. So both of us are so grateful to Dr. Anderson, so grateful to Optivia for giving us the opportunity to become the best versions of ourselves and build lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. So Pat and Karen, thank you for saying yes as our mentorship team, but also for letting us share just our short story tonight.
You know, I was sitting and listening to that, Wayne, and we've known each other for a while, and you guys are leaders of leaders. And one of the things that Optivia has done for us, it's taken our leadership to another level. I mean, and sitting with Dr. A and sitting with the team, and we have a story of sitting on a boat with Dr. A, a cruise ship a couple of years ago, where he gave us permission to step into our next. You know, I saw this quote today, and it said, and Marcus Aurelius said this: it's not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. And there are people that are watching right now, over 6,000 that are watching right now. In fact, we're going to throw a poll up, and I want you to tell me basically, you know, how often, if you are on this plan, how often you connect with your coach, because we want to know that, because there's many that are on the plan right now that are watching. But, you know, Wayne and Courtney, when you were sharing just now, I've always said this: I want to live somewhere between amen and there it is. But I've also always said, I don't want to do life alone. I want to do it together. I want to have a team around us, and I want people to run with us. And one of the things that I love is the pillar that one of the pillars of Optivia is simply community. Man, I'll be honest with you, especially with what we've faced in our nation, around the world, seclusion that has happened. I've loved our community, because literally with Optivia, we're gonna whoever invited you on here tonight, and you're going to reach out to them afterward, and you're going to join a partnership. If you decide you want to do the plan or jump on the plan, you get to become a part of something bigger than yourself. You know, there's a moment when you begin to realize, wait a minute, there are other people that I want to run and do life with. And man, these guys that you're going to see on the screen tonight, they're part of our cadre. We run together. There's thousands of us. But when you become a part of Optivia, we're going to add you to our community. We're going to add you to a support page on Facebook. We're going to add you to a client page. If you decide to coach, you become a part of a coaching page. But also we have virtual events that take place where we all come together and we begin to share. The community side of this changed our lives, because, you know, I mean, we had stood in front of thousands for many, many years, but we had become kind of loners.
Yeah, and we realized that through this community, some of our best friends, some of our greatest friends are a part of this community. And we've learned to do life together, to encourage each other, to spur each other on, to show each other and awaken each other to what is really possible in our lives, to truly live and to live full and helping other people. You
know, speaking of community, about a week and a half ago, my precious mom transitioned to heaven. And her life came to a close. Do you know who reached out to me? Because we're very involved in the church culture world as well. But man, my phone started blowing up. We got flowers. Didn't plan on sharing this, but we got flowers from the leadership at Optivia, here at our home in Fort Worth, at my brother's house in Alabama, at my parents'. And I thought to myself that day, man, these are some pretty amazing people, some pretty authentic people. So we love the community side of that. And because of the community side, I want to introduce to you two people that we love so much. They're just the real deal, and they make me laugh a lot. In fact, I say this about Pastor David Redding. He's not right in the head, but he's one of my favorite people, and I just have a blast with him. David and Cindy, would you come on, share your story, and share about even how community changed your life? Love you guys. You are the real deal.
Well, thank you guys for letting us share. We're just so excited to be a part of this journey. And my wife, I'm David, and this is my wife, Cindy. And man, it's just been an amazing journey that we've been able to walk through. And man, I'm telling you what, it's so amazing that we could have a family. And this is what this is. We are a family. And so I want my wife to kind of share and personalize her journey and how the community really, really affected her life.
Well, for me, growing up, I never had to worry about weight. I wasn't healthy, but I didn't have to worry about weight. And then, of course, life happened. I got married. I started having kids, and then, 1 kid, 2 kid, 3 kid, and now there's 4. And so, the weight started packing on. I did yo-yo diets where you lose, gain, lose, gain, lose, gain. And I just was tired of that. I didn't want to struggle anymore like that. I lost my hope. I lost confidence in myself. And just like Karen said, as moms, we're always giving to everybody else. What child needs what, husband, whoever needs anything. That's just our nature. Right. And so I knew it was time to give back to myself, because I can't give out as much if I'm not taking care of myself first. Right. And so I joined the Optivia family. And I say it's a family because, just like Pat said, it is a family. The community is family. I can remember when I started my journey. I was so excited about my journey, but then those thoughts started coming back in, of failure, of fear, of, hey, I can't do this, or I'm going to gain it back, or, all those negative thoughts that enter your head. And that's where the community played that part to help me get through those. The right voices lead to right choices. And so when you have those positive people around you, the positive mindsets, that helps you to push past what you're feeling to reach those goals. I love that we had the client support page, the Habits of Health community, and the virtual event communities, because when you go on those, they encourage you. On those days you're doing great, they celebrate with you. They tell you how awesome you're doing. On those days you say, and we've all been through it, that chocolate cake is calling my name. They're there to say, hey, let's stop, challenge, choose. Let's push past what we're feeling right now, because our goal is so much more important. Right. I love that on the Facebook page, Optivia Facebook page, you can go on there, and I know I did that when I first joined, and I found somebody I could relate to. I found somebody in my community that I saw that did it. They reached their goal. So what did that do? That encouraged me even more to push past my feelings to get to that. Community, one definition of community is joint ownership. Yeah. So to me, with this community, what that did was I wasn't on an island by myself. Yeah. I didn't feel lost. I didn't feel confused, because I had that joint ownership. I had a partnership now. People who were going to encourage me, people who were going to lift me up, people when I didn't feel like I could push past, when I didn't see the potential in myself, they push you past that. Right. So you can reach those goals. Right. For me, I lost 52 pounds. David lost 50. And I attribute that to the community that was around me, to those people that had my back no matter what I needed for that day. If I needed an encouraging word, they were there. And it's more than just a community to us. It was our family. Yeah.
Yeah. And so same deal, man. I was an athlete, played basketball, Mississippi State, no problems with losing weight, and got older, had kids, all those kind of things. And I started struggling, and she got on the program, and I just followed her footsteps, and I started eating healthier. Then I dived in the program, lost 50 pounds. And I'm just telling you what, the community helped us so much, because like I said, we can just always go to them, and they had our back. And so I'm just telling you, the community gave us joy. It gave us courage to fight fear, and it gave us hope. And I'm telling you, you can do it. And we are so glad to be a part of this Optivia family. And I'm telling you, it's a family. We are better together. Hey, take it away, Karen.
Oh, I love it. You know what? These are stories that we hear all the time. This is not just isolated stories. We hear from people all the time about how the community is what encouraged them. And, you know, I know even for me, you know, going on and seeing that there's other people that are walking through the same journey that we're on, that I'm not the only one who is battled, you know, the emotional part or the food part or any of those things, that we're not alone, that there are those that are walking the same journey. And if they can do it, we can do it. And so we're there to support each other. But you know what? We took a poll just a few minutes ago. And so I want to get the results of that poll. We asked you how often, if you're a client on this page, how often do you typically connect with your coach? And there was actually such a great response. I believe that 69% of you said that you connect 1 to 2 times a week. That is phenomenal, because that shows that when we have a coach that's walking with us, that's spurring us on. Our coach isn't our boss. They're not ordering things towards us. What they're there is to cheer you on and say, you can do this, giving us all the tools that we need. But then there's 6% that said every other week, and 3% 1 to 2 times a month, and 13 is needed. And then there are 9% that's a guest on here that wants to find out more about this amazing health journey. And I think just from that poll, we can tell how important it is to have a coach right there walking alongside us. So the fourth component that we want to talk about is the fuelings. And we talk about those last because it's really our mindset and our emotions that fuel us into the decisions that we make. But the fuelings are simply there to give us the right nutrition that's going to help us achieve our goals. While we're on this plan, we do lose weight, but we're really taking our health back in every way. And so it's not just a diet. It's not a diet at all. It's a health transformation system. And when we get healthy on the inside, it naturally shows up on the outside. And that is just an added benefit. So the fuelings are there to give us all the nutrition that we need to get us to that place where we're reaching our goals, that why that we started. And you're going to be fueling your body 6 times a day. And for many people that we talk to, they think that is an awful lot of food. And we think we don't have to starve ourselves to get healthy. We can actually fuel our bodies in the right way, eating 6 times a day. And what that's going to look like is every 2 to 3 hours, we're going to be fueling our bodies. And then we're going to be fueling our bodies with nutrient-dense food that are carb-controlled items that we're going to be eating that are balanced. There's a balance of protein and carbohydrates, scientifically designed fuelings for your body. So you're getting everything you need. You're getting the vitamins, the minerals, everything that you need to fuel your body towards health, towards energy, towards a life of just vibrancy. And so you're going to be having those fuelings that are designed to provide that right nutrition at every stage of your journey. And then in addition to the fuelings, you're going to be having a lean and green meal that you prepare for yourself. We will give you every tool you need to be able to prepare that meal properly. You'll have 5 to 7 ounces of cooked lean protein every single day, and 3 servings of a non-starchy vegetable, 3 servings, different servings that are going to fuel your body. So you'll get to that most popular plan that we have is the 5-in-1 plan. There are different plans available for every stage of your journey, but the most popular is the 5-in-1 plan, where you will have 5 convenient meals, those fuelings to use during the day to fuel your body. Then you'll prepare that 1 lean and green meal for yourself, and then you'll use the Habits of Health clock to fuel your body every 2 to 3 hours. And so you're going to be on that journey, fueling your body properly to reach that goal.
You know, one of the things that I love about this plan is we travel the world. We love getting on a plane. And what I love about the 5-in-1 is it costs about $13 a day. The first month, you actually get 5 of 22 boxes free. And then each month, if you decide to stay on, the average person stays on 3 to 5 months. What's amazing is you begin to garnish up points that helps towards it. For about $13 a day, you get 5 meals. Now, I was spending that when I would stop at, for lunch and get a coffee and stop and get lunch real quick. But for $13 a day, you get 5 meals. And people always want to know 2 things. How much does it cost? And is it worth it? And the second thing they want to know, does it taste good? I actually love the food. Now, I was so desperate, man, because you got to remember, what really started my journey, what the end result was, I was holding my grandson at Thanksgiving, November 2015. Little Jack at the time was about 1.5 years old. My son was a college football player. My daughter's a gymnast. And I'm standing there and I'm 72 pounds overweight. And we take a picture. And this really happened. I went back to the hotel in Modesto, California, and I'm looking at the pictures on my phone, and I teared up. Because here's the deal, we do ministry, we're involved in ministry, and sometimes in ministry, we tend to take care of everybody else but ourselves. And I often say this, I honestly believe that the moment we became a hope dealer, the moment we became the person that said, let's share this with everyone, was the moment that I woke up and said, I got to take care of me first. I got to finally take care of me. And, it's so funny because I think in the process of my health journey of doing the 5-in-1, you had 3 yard sales. Karen loves yard sales, y'all. I'm telling you, you'll wake up on a Saturday morning and stuff's disappearing out of the house into the yard sale. Because literally I went through 3 different groups of clothes as it just poured off. And I'm like, I almost actually had bariatric surgery right before this and just really felt I shouldn't. And here's the thing. It's so transformational that when you jump on the 5-in-1 plan, when you have that coach walking with you, when you have that community, and then all of a sudden you start realizing, wait a minute, you know what? This plan works. And especially for those of you that live crazy, busy lifestyles. And you know what? I want to talk about somebody that's about to share about that. 2 of our very, very best friends in the world. We've been friends for about a little over, 20-something years. And they're fun. They're exciting. They're also now health coaches, but they've traveled the world also as ministers, but now they also own a company. And I want to bring on Jayme and Michelle Montera. They're in Pueblo, Colorado. They are very dear to us. And we got the opportunity to be their health coaches. And they're going to share their story, and they're going to share how the 5-in-1 plan changed their life. Jayme and Michelle, talk to us.
Well, first and foremost, we have to just take a time out and say, stop. Pat and Karen, thank you. Thank you for demonstrating not just a pillar, but being the very example of what we're talking about tonight. Number 1, you said yes. And because you were people that we trusted and we loved, that we could reach out to you and you could actually help us say yes. And it was because you lived up to the terminology and the verbiage of health coach. But more importantly than that, there was relationship and there was friendship, and we could reach out and trust you that what you were doing was not just a gimmick, because that's what stopped us for years. We thought this was a gimmick. We thought it was, I literally for 3 years told Shelly, no way, this is just a gimmick and I'm the most critical person. But what we have talked about already on this Hope and Health and Hope Night is being demonstrated. Pat and Karen were our coaches, but then they introduced us to this community. And 20 months ago, when we started this journey, we are now some best friends with the community that has embraced us and been demonstrated before us and celebrate people. We had people celebrating us that we didn't even know. And so our story is very simple. We are very busy. The thing about this plan is it wasn't just, it taught us that what we were eating was bad. It was when we were eating was bad. And so I was only eating sometimes 1 time a day. And when I was eating that 1 time a day, it was crazy because I would wait all day long and I wouldn't do anything. And then at night I would just graze. But in just a short period of time after we said yes, I lost 61 pounds. I literally had my entire life transformed, and all of that changed. But the crazy part of that was that, I have to say, I have to apologize on screen real quick to Shelly, because I told you no. But I just want to say thank you that your yes was stronger than my no. And because you were determined to help me, I lost 61 pounds and my life was transformed. What's your story?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I found me again. I was just hidden. I was in the shadows, and I chose that. And so, I am just so thankful. I remember, kind of a crazy story is I remember, it was actually right before we jumped on this plan, and I was very unhealthy. I struggled with high blood pressure since my first child, and so in my early 20s. And, and then I started having this heart condition because of it. And I remember one night I woke up, Jayme was traveling, and I woke up, it was the middle of the night, and I got up, I drove myself to the hospital. And actually, before I jumped in the car, I realized I'm going to die tonight. I felt so sick, so unhealthy. So I jumped in the shower and actually shaved my legs just in case I died. And so literally I was, I went to the hospital and, just very unhealthy. And, and I'm just so grateful and so thankful, one thing that I really struggled with as well was just, loving others. I got to a place, we're in ministry, and I really found it hard because I didn't love myself. And so, in order to love, you can't love others unless you love yourself. And I hated the reflection that I saw. And so, it taught me self-love. It taught me, to just being healthy, and I'll never forget one last story before I give it back to Jayme. But I remember when my oldest daughter looked at me after I had lost 54 pounds, and she said, "Mom," she said, "I have my mom back."
Well, guys, what's so crazy is we always hear out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. But what you bring in determines what ends up coming out. And we were feeding ourselves things that were killing us. Because our lives were so busy, and we're talking about fuelings, you can't put the wrong fueling in the vehicle and expect the right results. Well, it's the same way with your body. You can't put the wrong nutrients and the wrong things and eat them and drink them and expect to have a healthy mindset and a healthy lifestyle. And so when we started learning and adapting, one of the great awakenings was when they started talking about fuelings. We were like, what are fuelings? And they're like, those are your meals. And it started changing this mindset that what we eat is fuel, and it's going to determine how we feel, and it's going to determine how far we go. And before we basically lived off of 3 C's, and the 3 C's were we ate what we craved, we ate what was cheap, and we ate what was convenient. And we found ourselves in drive-thrus ordering things that were going to end up killing us. But through the fuelings, and I'm the pickiest. I don't know if there's anybody out there. I'm the pickiest person in all the world. And the crazy thing is when it comes to food, if I don't taste good, feel good, or if I don't like the smell of it, I'm not going to eat it. But I was so desperate. I didn't care if it tasted like cardboard. I was going to eat it. And I was pleasantly surprised. I started finding out I love these things. I could be 80 feet up in the air because I own a sign company in a crane. I could be 80 feet up in the air and grab a bar or drink a shake. Or I could be 30,000 miles up or 30,000 feet up in an airplane flying to a ministry destination, and I could fuel myself. And the crazy thing is there is a huge just a menu of different fuelings. You have sweet potatoes, you have pancakes, you have brownies, which are amazing. I'll never forget eating a brownie for the first time. And I said, there's no way this tastes this good, because I'm going to gain weight because it tastes too good, because we've always been taught health doesn't taste good and health is hard. But what this awakening that occurred was that health isn't hard and health does taste good. And originally we started this plan to lose weight, but all of a sudden weight loss took a back seat to everything else that we were gaining. And because we were nourishing our body with healthy fuelings that had vitamins and minerals in them, and we were drinking water and getting hydrated, and we were getting the rest that we needed, and we were properly fueling our bodies, all of a sudden, man, our whole life was changed. And because it changed, Pat and Karen, people started noticing how much energy we had and how good we were feeling and how good we were looking. All of a sudden, we had to start sharing, and we shared it. The first person we had to share it with was my sister. And my sister said, hey, listen, if you'll help me, I'll do it with you. And that's why we became health coaches, to help people experience the same results that we experienced. My sister lost 80 pounds. My mom lost 30 pounds. My daughters went from being depressed and struggling with insecurity to all of a sudden feeling good, not only physically, but emotionally. And that transformation started with our physical, but then it changed our mind, and then it changed our lives. So Pat and Karen, thank you so much for introducing us to this plan and saying yes.
Oh, wow.
Well, what fires me up is we've been able to take people with us for the journey. And Jayme and Michelle, you're 2 of our very best friends in the whole world. And And one of the things, Jayme mentioned coaching, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. I became a coach, not because I was looking for some side hustle, not because I'm like, because this company will bless you, and we'll get into that in just a moment. Not because I just thought, oh, let's be a coach. I had never done anything like this. In fact, even the contract that I was under with an agency had to check out this incredible company. And they go, wait a minute, it's rated A+ on on Bloomberg. It's on a New York Stock Exchange. And what happened to us was all of a sudden, I began to say, when I began to lose, I had one person. See, I lost my sister to obesity. And I'll never forget, I reached out to my coach and I said, hey, I want you to help my brother Scott. And he said, no, you're going to help him. And that sorry dog, that rascal, I went, no, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy. What will people think? And, opinions don't pay rent. But if you're going to live somewhere between amen and there it is, if you're going to step up and do what you're called to do, you got to step into your destiny, and you got to have a funeral for yesterday's guy. You got to say goodbye to that. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I said to my coach, I said, you know what? Okay, I'll do it, because I want to help my brother. And he ended up losing 85 pounds, I believe it was. But before we get into coaching, because I can get fired up about coaching, because it's part of our family. I know you want to have a poll.
Yeah, well, and also I just want to mention too, we're going to have a poll. And so you've heard about the 4 components. You've heard about how you get a coach. You've heard about how you're going to get the habits of health. You're going to get this amazing community, and you're going to get the fueling. So which component do you feel is the most helpful to you when striving towards lifelong transformation? Is it the coach? Is it the habits of health transformation system? Is it the community? Or is it the fuelings? And, I love it because I sat and I listened to Jayme and Michelle talk about the fuelings. And some people may be listening and saying, but I don't know what to eat. I don't know what I should be doing. But it's so amazing because with the Habits of Health Transformational System, you actually get this amazing, simple, easy reading guide that's going to tell you in exact detail, along with your coach, that's going to give you all the tools that you need. You're going to get an app. You're going to get all of these things. You're not going to be left alone. You're going to have someone walk right with you. And believe it or not, as you begin to take back your health, people are going to start to notice. They're going to start asking you. I remember when we began to transform, when we began to not just lose weight, but to have a healthy mindset and to have more energy and everything, there was people, your brother and our sister-in-law.
Well, I gave my brother my clothes.
Yeah.
All of my suits, because he has, and then he had a yard sale and kept the money from the clothes I gave to him because he lost weight, which is wrong. That's wrong. So don't do that to you people.
They asked us because we went to visit and to speak at a conference, and they came up to us and said, what in the world have you done? What is going on with you? There's a change that's took place in you. So when you begin to take your health back, people are going to start to ask you, and they're going to say, can you share with me what has happened to you? What are you doing to make this transformation? And you're going to have a couple of options. You can either refer them to the coach who has so wonderfully coached you. And every coach is so willing and able to help your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors. They're more than happy to do that. But there's also an opportunity that Pat's about to share with you, that once you've took back your health, once you've made this transformation and this amazing transition into a healthy lifestyle, you have an opportunity to help other people. That's what we love doing. There is no greater joy to us than to actually take what has happened to us, share it with someone else, and walk them through that same journey, and to see them get their life back, to get their joy back, to get their hope back. And so you have that opportunity to pay it forward.
The stories that we've heard as coaches, it's unbelievable. The radical stories. Our son called us this morning, and he's a pastor out in California, getting ready to move to Dallas. And our son called us this morning and goes, Dad, my son was a college football player. He's about 6'1", but during the last couple of months being at home and all of that, he put on some weight. And he called me this morning. He said, Dad, I've gone from 189 to 173. My own son today. I was talking to a coach, a brand new coach that I was being introduced. We do what's called coach meet and greets. We get to meet coaches on our team. And I was talking to a brand new coach yesterday. And she said this to me. She was so excited because she had took back her health and she had just become a coach. And she said this to me. She said, and she had been in the military, based out of Tampa. and they're at the Strategic Command. And she said to me, you know what? I realized I had to do something because my body is my vehicle for my spirit and soul. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about what it means to become a coach. How not only will this transform your body, it'll transfer your mind, but it could even transform your finances. Here's what I want to talk to you for just really the last part of this is what an incredible opportunity is. As you're losing weight, my sweetheart mentioned just a moment ago, people are going to say, what are you doing? And you can either refer them to your coach, and maybe your coach will bless you for doing referrals, or you can say, you know what? I think I'm going to build a team. I think I'm going to bring people on with me. And over a period of time, if you bring on a certain number of people, you actually, if you're still purchasing fuelings or being a part of this, you can actually get that pretty much paid for just by bringing people onto your team. But not only that, we call this term buying back your future. Have you ever realized that sometimes you're standing on the corner of destiny and circumstances and you start going, you know what? There's more for me out there. What if my next chapter could rescue people, could help people, could transform people? Paying it forward to make a difference. The fun and rewardingness of watching people like Jayme and Michelle, or watching people radically take back their health. The gentleman I was on the phone with the other day that has lost over 100 pounds. My own brother, who his wake-up call was going to Universal Studios and not being able to fit with next to his beautiful daughter in a roller coaster. And he said, I got to change. See, look, it's time to interrupt your life. It's time to make up your mind. Wait a minute, maybe I can be a part of this. And there's something so powerful about saying, I'm going to pull this person with me. I'm going to take this person with me, and then maybe even help them become a coach. Because see, this company believes in blessing and compensating you. Oh, by the way, I told you about my awakening was 5 years ago, May. We were renting a condo. I now own the condo next door to where we're renting, because there comes a moment where as you begin to bless others, you can get blessed as well. It's not some fake thing. It's authentic. It's real. And here's the last thing I want to say to you. When you reinforce your decision to be healthy, here's the biggest reason why you should become a coach. Because if you jump on the plan, because accountability. Yeah. I did it because I had failed at so many diets. This isn't a diet. This is a lifelong transformation. This is a health plan. So I became a coach because, man, I cannot stand hypocrisy. And I'm like, if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to say I'm going to do it, I got to be accountable to somebody else. So I started taking people on. Karen jumped on the plan, was it 10 days after I jumped on the plan? And, paying it forward to make a difference. And then lastly, to leave a legacy. Can I just tell you something? We didn't have a retirement. We've sown a lot. And now we can honestly say we do, because we began to help others. And through that came the blessing. So there's some action steps. By the way, listen, I just want to encourage you. I love coaches, and I love walking with coaches, and we have a pretty amazing team. But after tonight, reach out to whoever invited you, because they loved you enough to bother you. And I'm going to say this to you. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, man, I don't know what people will think if I do. Can I tell you something? Opinions don't pay rent. And most of the time we think somebody's thinking about us. They're not. What you're going to learn through the habits of health and a lot of the other leadership training is you're actually going to become an entrepreneur, and you're going to step into that entrepreneurship. The word entrepreneur did not exist 100 years ago. It means to create. You're going to begin to step into becoming a business health coach, at-home health coach, owning your own business and walking into that. So I get excited about it, because all the other stuff, all the amazing process of the 5-in-1, having your community, having your coach, it all led to us saying, we can help others.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that was so amazing to me, one of the things maybe we've left out, is that being a coach is so much fun. I cannot tell you how exciting it is to me that we get to live our life celebrating people around us. We get to live our life being everyone's biggest cheerleader, exciting, just encouraging them and telling them that they can do it, and being right there with them throughout their success stories. So we love that. So another action step to take is make the decision to incorporate the 4 components that you just heard about into your daily life in order to reach your goals. That's what we want you to do, to be able to incorporate those 4 things into your life to be able to reach your goals and to jump into all that Optivia has to offer you, every single part of it. So I want to ask you, has this presentation motivated you to take action to improve your health? That's a question that I want each one of you to ask. Has what you've heard tonight, the components that's been showed to you, that's been offered to you, that's been explained to you through life experience, through these individuals who's come on and told their personal story, has it motivated you to want to take that next step? And if you want to learn more, we have so many different platforms that you can tune into, so many different things. There's an Optivia YouTube channel that many people may not know that that's out there. You can tune into the YouTube channel. You can download all of the videos to find out everything you need to know about Optivia and what it has to offer. You can go on their podcast to learn more and to be a part of that community. But you can also text to be a part of the Optivia 30 text. And so you can be a part of that, going on and getting reminders of these health and hope nights, about the habits of health calls that we do every Wednesday night. And you can learn more and more and be a part of that community.
Well, you know what's crazy is as we've walked through so much in the last few months and walked through so much going on outside of us that we cannot control, and a lot of different things, a lot of pain, a lot of heartache that's gone on. What's amazing is every time we're on those calls, it's like, my spirit shifts. I begin to change. I start getting excited. I start dreaming again. I turn off the 24-hour news cycle, which gets paid to scare you. And things begin to shift on the inside of you. You know, yesterday I had to go to a meeting, and I got to see a friend of mine. I hadn't seen him in a while. And his name is Dale. Dale's in his 70s. And Dale has lost 50 pounds. Yeah. And he walks up and he puts his arm around me and he says, I got 12 more to go. He said, but my life is changed. I'm going to live long. Listen, let me just say this to you. There's a moment where you begin to realize you have a right to step into your destiny. That was hard for me because, man, I'll be honest, I was raised, it's about everybody else, and it is. It's about helping humanity, raising humanity up and being there for people. But there's also a moment where my grandsons are going to grow up with me. I'm not going to die young on them. They're going to have a pappy that lives long. I had a young man walk up to me because I speak at a lot of youth conferences, and he walks up to me and he goes, I miss Fat Pat because I'm silly, I'm kind of stupid and funny, and I go, yeah, but Fat Pat, he's dead. You know, that brother, or he was going to kill me. Listen, shift your identity, change your identity. Reach out to the person that invited you. If you saw it on their Facebook page, send them a message. If you got a text, reach out and say, okay, I'm ready to dive in. As we get ready to close this, what's amazing is I even think about next week at this exact time, there will be another Habits of Health that'll take place, and some really precious friends, Sean and Megan Cody, will be sharing, and they're going to be talking about what gets measured gets done. So you're literally going to be able to hear one of the elements of the life book and how to really measure things. And not just pile it up and begin to shift your life. You know, sweetheart, I'm not the same person I used to be. This plan changed me. The leadership changed me. The opportunities changed me. And it's changed our life. It's changed our future.
It has. And, you know, I just want to encourage you, if you tuned in tonight and you heard all about this plan and you want to hear more, whoever invited you on cared enough to invite you and say, hey, I want you on this call. Just reach out to them. Just reach back out to them and say, hey, I want to know more about this. Can you share more with me? You
know, we always say this, but your old life needs permission to leave out the back door as freedom comes through the front door.
Yeah, because you know what? This could be your moment. This could be your now to change the narrative of your story going forward.
But what do you say to the person that has failed 1,000 times on diets? Your quote, my favorite quote.
Because there come a point in my life where I had to say, I love the sound of my feet walking away from those things that no longer serve me. And so it's time to leave behind some old mindsets, step into your now, step into your future, and see what is possible for you.
Come on, let's do this together. Thank you so much for joining tonight. And I think I think we're done. We may have had one more poll, but who knows? And, but it's been an honor for us to be on here with you tonight and to spend some time with you. Thank you to our panelists that jumped on. Thank you to Wayne and Courtney. Thank you to Jayme and Michelle, David and Cindy. We love doing life with all of you, and this has been incredible.
Don't forget to tune in next week because you don't want to miss Element 13.
Hey, y'all have a great night. God bless you. Take care.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some independent Optivia coaches or clients of Optivia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. In addition, this audio may have contained income or earnings representations of some independent Optivia coaches. Optivia makes no guarantee of financial success. Success with Optivia results from successful sales efforts, which requires hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. Please see the Optivia Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of coaches under the U.S. Compensation Plan, which differs from the International Compensation Plan. Yours in health, the Optivia team.